everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Women of Ancient History. This is a series on my channel where I create historical profiles summarizing the lives of women who lived throughout ancient history who I believe deserve to be remembered more than they are. There are currently 3 episodes in this series, so I'll link the card to the playlist above if you want to check out all of the videos so far. Remember, if you do enjoy this video, please give it a like to help support the channel and let me know that you do enjoy this type of content, and to also subscribe to the channel to make sure that you don't miss the next episode. And yes, I did choose a really bad day to film, where my neighbors are just banging things together. Because why not? Now, originally this episode was going to be about another Greek woman, who is a woman who I definitely love and I am still making an episode on and I'm still super excited about. But I received this lovely comment which kind of opened my eyes to the fact I've kind of fallen into the trap of only really talking about like Greek and Roman women and occasionally Persian women. This urged me to diversify who I was talking about and do more research into ancient cultures that I'm less familiar with and haven't been taught about. And I am so glad that I did. When I stumbled across this group of women, they were too cool to not instantly research more and make an episode on immediately. That's right, we're not just talking about one woman today. We are talking about a whole group of women called the Candaces of Meroe. Now, the Candaces of Meroe is a bit of a complicated topic. We have a lack of information and there's a lot of facts that are still debated over. Essentially, when we refer to the Candaces of Meroe, we're referring to the queens from the African city of Kush, who ruled independently from the city of Meroe, located roughly where modern-day Sudan is. There's debate over what the word Candace even means. According to Joshua J. Mark's article for worldhistory.org, which I use as my main source of information for this video, Candace is the Latinized version of the term Cantace or Candace. It may mean queen mother or royal woman. The term may have originally been used to refer to the mother of the king, but from around 170 BCE, it was used to describe an independently ruling female monarch. The word likely would have originally been pronounced as Candace, but the Greeks pronounced it as Candace, and since that's how it reads in English, it's how it's pronounced a lot today. I also do need to apologize in advance. I'm not going to be able to correctly pronounce a lot of the names in this video, and I really wish I could to properly respect these women. I tried to look up a pronunciation guide for one of them, and I ended up with 5 variations on how to pronounce it. If you do know how to pronounce any of these names correctly, please correct me in the comments. Meroe and the Kingdom of Kush weren't just some insignificant kingdom, they were significantly wealthy. Meroe's wealth became legendary. It was an ideal spot. It yielded crops, and these crops could easily be transported for trade from the Nile River. The main source of income was ironworking and the creation of meroitic weapons, and these became highly sought after. We don't know everything about Meroe, and there's a lot of gaps in our historical knowledge. Much of the information we have today comes from the excavations of archaeologist George A. Reisner, who excavated Napata and Meroe. But let's not glorify and thank him too much because he really wasn't that great. This was an abundant city in an abundant kingdom, and it was ruled by women many times. Exclusively kings ruled Kush from Meroe until 244 BCE, but the king Ergomenes instituted reforms which elevated the position of royal women into becoming queens. The first of these independently ruling women was the queen Candace Shenakdakete. I'm butchering the names, I'm so sorry. We consider her to be the first of the Candaces of Meroe, and there were roughly 7 more which came after her. Under her leadership, Meroe expanded its borders and the economy boomed. She also appears in battle dress leading her armies, which is just so cool. This was a powerful warrior queen. Like many women, she likely had a religious political role, as her adherence to Egyptian practices is shown in the inscription where she refers to herself as son of Ra, lord of the 2 lands, beloved of Mahat. Amanirenas was the next Candace. She's one of the best known Candaces, as she's known for winning the favour of Augustus Caesar. There was a large conflict known as the Meroitic War which occurred between the Kingdom of Kush and Rome. She's depicted as courageous and a very skilled negotiator. She made peace talks with Caesar that ended up increasing trade between Meroe and Rome. Think about this. This woman fought against Rome, won, came out successful, and had peace talks afterwards that ended up increasing trade between the 2 nations. That's impressive. She's also known for being blind in one eye. Sadly, little is known about the next Candace, who was Queen Amanish Shakheter. Our main source of information is her lavish grave and the goods inside of ornate jewelry. Ruined inscriptions and reliefs show that she was a powerful queen, but details of her reign have been lost. Most likely due to the treasure hunter Giuseppe Fellini, who stole from her grave, and many others in Meroe. Thanks, Giuseppe. Aman-Ator reigned during the most prosperous period of Meroe's history. She rebuilt temples, trade was at its height, and the agriculture and ironworking industry flourished. She is depicted with a co-ruler, King Natak Mani, who is either her son or husband, but she did rule independently for part of her reign. She's depicted at a temple wall at Nakwa, conquering her enemies as a warrior queen. Aman-Tetere is the queen believed to be the Candace, Queen of the Ethiopians, mentioned in the Book of Acts in the Bible, and we know nothing of her reign. Physical evidence does suggest a high level of affluence though. Not much is known about Amanik Hattushan's reign, except for the military aid that she provided Rome during the First Jewish-Roman War. She sent Kushite armors who were legendary for their skill. While it's not clear, it is possible and believed by some that she did serve as a powerful religious figure, as priestess of the Egyptian goddess of the sky, Nut. Melek-Rabah and Lahed Dayamani reigned during Meroe's decline. Not much is known about both of their reigns. Meroe's wealth began to falter when Rome switched out its main trading partner to be the Kingdom of Axum. And of course the kingdom suffered because of this. In 330 CE, Meroe was invaded by the Kingdom of Axum and completely ransacked. It was then deserted. Even great kingdoms fall. And that's a summary of the key information that we have about the Candaces of Meroe. These were badass women, there's no denying that. They ruled over a prosperous kingdom. They fought in battle. They were brilliant negotiators. While I was learning about them, the whole time I was thinking, how have I never learnt about these women before? They're so interesting and powerful. There is a reason why the Candaces of Meroe aren't talked about as much in history. It's the same reason why a lot of African history isn't talked about. Now, usually in this series, I find modern depictions which talk about these women, and I will kind of review them and talk about how we do remember them in society today. However, when it comes to the Candaces of Meroe, there's barely anything. There was a short film made in 1999 called The Candace of Meroe, however I couldn't find anything on it beyond a general summary. There's been a few historical writings written on them, but there's never been any major film or TV show or novelization of these women, which in modern society are the main things that help keep history alive. And frankly, there should be, because it would be so cool. So instead of talking about representations, because there are none, let's talk about why there are none. Obviously, lack of information is still a factor, but I was able to make a whole video about them while leaving out some details. Sorry about the sun change, but the rain got way too loud in here and you genuinely couldn't hear me speak. These lucid goods. Wow, you are loud. It got louder. So it's time to refilm the end of the video so that you can actually hear what I'm saying. Remember the treasure hunter Giuseppe Fellini, who stole from tombs and deprived us of information? When he went to sell his looted goods, he could find no buyers because the Europeans refused to believe that a black African kingdom could produce such well-made goods. When George Reisner excavated Meroe, he concluded the ruling class of Meroe were light-skinned people ruling over the ignorant black population, who were elevated by their monarchs introducing them to Egyptian culture. Historians of the 20th century kind of whitewashed Egypt in a way and separated from kingdoms such as the Kingdom of Kush, which were associated with Black Africa. As Mark writes, even in the mid-20th century, it was inconceivable to the scholarly community that a black-skinned people could have created a civilization such as the Kushite Kingdom of Meroe. So why have so many of us never heard about the Candaces of Meroe? Because of racist historical bias. It's because of these stupid historical biases that a bunch of white dudes made in the 20th century that we don't get to hear about cool parts of history like the Candaces of Meroe, and so much of cultures like Africa's history is just not heard about. Historians of the 20th century also tried to argue that the Candaces of Meroe weren't independently ruling leaders, because, you know, heaven forbid a woman, let alone a black African woman, lead such a flourishing kingdom. History says otherwise, dummy. Sure, we don't have all the details on the reigns of these women. There's a lot of gaps to our knowledge, but every bit of evidence we do have says that the Candaces of Meroe were strong, powerful, and respected leaders leading a powerful kingdom. They were warriors, they were rulers, they were negotiators, they were strong black women. They deserve to be remembered more than they are. So thank you so much for watching this episode of Women of Ancient History, all about the Candaces of Meroe. I really hope you got a chance to learn something. I will leave some links in the description to the full article that I mostly had to rely on to make this video, and also a video all about the African queen who stood against Rome, which was really good. So if you want to check out some more resources about them, head on down to the description. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a like to help support the channel, and if you want to see more content from me, you can subscribe to the channel for future content, including the next episode of Women of Ancient History. Or if you want some of my older content recommended to you, you can stick around to the end screen. And that's all from me. Thank you once again for watching. Bye!